To News Desk, I'm Miss Nyamiche Thompson, and we head to the presidency now, where the Minister of Health is giving updates on what's happening in the health sector.
In office, we have, on behalf of government, engaged several times with the GRNMA to explore the best possible avenue to approve and implement the new conditions of service. While expressing our deep regret over the current impasse leading to the strike and the suffering patients enduring, the ministry states emphatically that government appreciates the invaluable contributions of Ghanaian nurses and midwives to the development of the health sector. Government remains committed to the needed engagement that will lead to the approval and implementation of the new conditions of service for nurses and midwives. Accordingly, government has directed the Minister of Finance and the Fair Wages and Salary Commission to, as a matter of urgency, lead the development of a roadmap to ensure a smooth implementation of the process. We engaged the leadership of all Nurses and Midwives Association within the health sector on 30th May 2025 to address their challenges and discuss the subsequent roadmap leading to the implementation of the new conditions of service. Fortunately, the other associations supported my intervention, with the exception of the GRNMA, which declined and proceeded to declare the strike on the 2nd of June 2025, despite the NLC caution. The National Labour Commission on Thursday, 5th June 2025, summoned all stakeholders to an emergency meeting to address the matter. However, the GRNMA failed to attend the meeting. Consequently, the NLC was compelled to take legal steps to declare the strike illegal and called on the GRNMA to immediately call it off in line with law. Yesterday, Monday, 9th June 2025, we invited the Fair Wages and Salary Commission to engage the GRMA, the Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Health to deliberate on roadmap for the successful implementation of the new conditions of service. At the meeting, the Fair Wages and Salary Commission once again, in accordance with law, directed the GRNMA to call off the strike to allow negotiations to continue. Government wishes to stress its readiness to further engage with a view to implementing the conditions of service in a manner that does not dislocate the national budget. We wish to draw attention to the fact that the conditions of service under reference are not captured in the 2025 budget and will completely throw the economy off gear if implemented immediately in the manner it currently exists. We are mindful of the serious economic consequences of unbudgeted expenditure and want to avoid the economic slippages that led to the hardship in the recent past. Government commits to continue to engage with the nurses in order to achieve a mutually acceptable outcome in the interest of the public. While working around the clock to resolve the impasse, the Ministry of Health has taken the following steps to mitigate the suffering of Ghanaian patients unduly affected by the strike. The Ministry will, in the next few minutes, publish a comprehensive list of facilities to complement facilities where nursing services are lacking and where patients can seek health care. Given the urgency of the situation and suffering of the patients, government appeals to public-spirited retired nurses and midwives to volunteer their services for a brief period pending the resolution of the impasse. We further express our deep appreciation to practicing nurses who have opted to remain at post to help suffering patients and urge others to show similar fellow feeling and assist our ailing compatriots even as efforts are made to address their concerns. In conclusion, government reiterates its commitment to dialogue with the GRMA with a view to resolving this impasse for full nursing services to be restored. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. You may have heard him speak about the implications for the national budget in the event that the conditions of service as they exist are implemented immediately. To shed further light on that, I would invite to the microphone the Honorable Thomas Ampim, who is Deputy Minister for Finance. Thank you very much.
Good morning. We've all heard the Minister for Health, and from the Ministry of Finance, we want to show our commitment to help in resolving this important issue, because our nurses are very, very critical to healthcare delivery, and we appreciate what they do. But the reality is that we have over 120,000 nurses, and the implementation of the current condition of service that they are demanding will have serious consequences for the budget. In fact, if we fully implement it, we are going to add in excess of 2 billion cedis to the compensation budget. We have all committed that in our resolve to reset the economy of this country, we must maintain a 1.5% primary balance surplus every year in order to bring our debt levels to sustainable levels. And so it is important for us to manage expenditure. And so we want to appeal to our revered nurses that we are willing to negotiate, to sit with them and the Ministry of Health to agree on a roadmap that will help us incorporate what can be accommodated in the budget for next year. And we believe that they have all seen the hard work we are all doing to manage the economy better. We want to appeal to them that they should let us sit down and discuss what can be accommodated so that we can all have a win-win situation for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister. The floor is now open for any questions that may be agitating your mind on this particular issue. Please raise your hand. I will acknowledge you, and then you ask the question. Yes, Komla.
The nurses say that they started the engagement way ahead of March, where the budget got kicked in, and then the assurance they had from the Ministry of Health was to the effect that their concerns or their conditions of service would be captured in there. They now say that it's out of bad faith, that you have not captured it in the budget, and you are now referring to a possible implementation of 2026. Would the government then be willing to pay the arrears that they may be foreseeing?
All right. Any other question, please? I just want to take all the questions so that they answer it.
Okay.
In composite.
Yes. Okay. My name is Maxwell. I work with Joy FM and Enjoy News. My question is, I'd want to find out, would you describe this as an ambush, or was it something that government anticipated? I'm asking because during the transition period, I know there were many discussions, and one of the important components of those discussions was in the health sector. Did government anticipate this? Would you describe it as an ambush? What would you describe it to be, and where do we go from here? Thank you.
All right, so the minister made mention that government is going to outline some facilities that nurses could volunteer their services, and then the retired nurses should also come and support. How long are we looking at?
If I may clarify that, he said that he was going to publish a list of healthcare facilities that will complement existing healthcare facilities where this strike action has taken place. So that is what he said he would publish. The call on retired and voluntary retired nurses and midwives is for them to assist at the places where the strike action has taken impact. So that is a clarity that needs to be brought. But I would invite the Deputy Finance Minister to speak to a bit about negotiations that may have taken place in March, as you say, and what can be done.
many things. We have to balance everything and ensure that the economy is not thrown out of gear. We have a lot of debt that we need to, we have been confronted with. And so, in as much as I appreciate what our nurses do and what they are demanding, we also want them to have faith in the current administration that we mean well, and we are committed to ensure that we have a fair wage for what they do for all of us. And so let us not describe their action in any way that will mar our attempt to resolve this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll draw down the curtains here, except to add that government doors are open to, well, those are matters that can be looked at once people sit around the table for discussions to be had. So the invitation to members of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association still stands. And all right, so the Health Minister would want to make some concluding comments on the matter.
Yeah, thank you very much. And as a mother ministry, we want to still appeal to our, brothers and sisters who are nurses to come around the table so that we have lasting solution to this matter. And I can assure them that as a ministry, as their mother ministry, we are the best people to pursue their interests, and we are committed in doing so. Thank you.
So thank you all for coming. See you another time.
And you saw that in your shot from the seat of government, the Minister of Health and also the Deputy Minister of Finance addressing the issues ongoing with the health sector strike by the nurses. And you had the minister there indicating that there's a roadmap to negotiate with the striking nurses to get them to some form of understanding. But as we speak, the interim measures they're taking is that they're going to bring in retired nurses and midwives to take up, the mantle and also initiate some facilities that people who need healthcare services can attend. Also, we heard from the finance minister who said that they will have to come to some form of agreement so that it doesn't take the budget out of gear. Joining us this morning, right about now, is David Tinkranchum, who is the General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, and he joins me with his reaction to the just ended press conference by the Health Minister and also the Deputy Finance Minister. David Tinkranchum, you're welcome to desk here. On our desk.
Thank you, Madam, for having me, and good afternoon to your viewers.
Good afternoon there, but good morning here in Ghana. But you've been following the press conference that just ended. What's your reaction? Your initial reaction to what the Health Minister has said and also the Deputy Finance Minister.
Well, thank you very much. And good morning. I believe that I'm beginning to see a certain push-up that seeks to create the environment, the enabling environment that can foster any meaningful discussion. But let me quick to state that the solution in this impasse doesn't lie in press conferences. I think that our key ask or our key demands are not above the roof. It is something that can be contained. I believe that the Deputy Finance Minister has done the arithmetics. If he's done the calculations, realize that our demands is not something that can throw the economy off gear. We think that this is a new government. We need to come together as citizens to help build the economy of Ghana. If the dividends of whatever policy that are being rolled out is anything to write home about, and if it improves the fortunes of Ghana, all of us will enjoy. And we will not do anything to derail that forward march, the attempt by the state to reset the economy. But that notwithstanding, we need to bring to the sharp focus of the employer. We need to bring to the sharp focus of the employer that we will not sacrifice our future, our economic interests, just because we have been appealed to come back. We are ever ready to engage, not in negotiation, but in a roadmap of possible implementation. The proposal that was tabled yesterday was inhumane. We think that it is not a proposal that is supposed to be tabled in a situation as we find ourselves.
Well, David, so at least from the meeting that happened yesterday, you were told that this your conditions of service or the agreement that was reached cannot be implemented except in 2026. And you had that the Deputy Finance Minister indicating that as at now, if they should implement it in its current form, it's going to throw the budget out of gear. At least they have the numbers. They, from where they're sitting, they know the situation in which they find themselves. And so wouldn't you, be a bit reasonable, come to some form of agreement to be able to accommodate government's position on this?
I don't think this is a very good position. I'll urge the finance minister respectfully to relook at the figures. What is it in the condition of service that will throw the budget of Ghana off gear? It cannot be said to be true. As far as we are concerned, I think that they need to come clean. They need to prioritize the health needs of the good people of Ghana. They need to prioritize the economic interests and economic welfare of nurses and midwives. And I've been told that one of the mitigating factors is to deploy retired nurses and midwives. They are more even angry than us. What they don't know is that the retired nurses and midwives feel that they've been let down by the state. Okay, I visit them from time to time, not just individuals, but if, for instance, I can show you a place that they meet every last Tuesday of every month. They meet at Christ the King. Go there and talk to the retired nurses and midwives. Some of them have been affected with occupational related ailments, disease conditions that they got whilst working as nurses and midwives. And they're at home, and their retirement package cannot even buy them the little medications that they need to take.
But David, that's unfair, because I mean, at least the minister says they reached out to them, so I'm sure they have some agreement with them. People need health services. At least you are out of work, and we need people to fill that gap. So if the health minister is finding avenues to help people get that health care, I believe we should let them do that. But in that regard, I mean, you've asked fair questions about what necessarily will put the budget out of gear if your agreement is implemented. I believe that question can be posed to the minister and also other stakeholders who are willing to sit around the table to have those discussions. So are you also willing to come to the negotiation tables and put those questions to them and at least come to some form of agreement?
We are ready to go to the implementation table, not negotiation table. I've told you that we have finished with negotiations. These two words are not the same. It must not be used interchangeably. Yes, we cannot block any attempt by the employer to deploy any strategy that will mitigate the effect of our strike. If they want to bring in retired nurses, don't forget that retired nurses are members of GRNMA. That's what they don't know. The retired nurses and midwives are actually members. We have life membership that is open to retired nurses and midwives, and all of them are members. And if they so agree that they will come in as strike breakers, it's up to them. We will not stop them. They are mothers. They can come in and offer those services. After all, earlier in the morning, in our informal discussion, I told you that we have even taken steps to put in some skeletal staffs and other. As late as 3 a.m. Ghana time, I was looking for people to stand in at NICUs and stuff like that to be able to take care of babies, feed babies in incubators and all that, and provide their medications. A job that they thought the doctors would be able to do that, they are not able to do. So what I'm trying to let you understand is that we will not stop anybody from deploying any tactics that will improve the system, but they should avert their minds to our demands. We think that our demands are not elastic. They are inelastic demands. It can be accommodated. If you tell me that something that I have negotiated, and don't forget that the condition of service is a living document. It expires in May 2026. So if you are deferring the payment of 2024 condition of service to 2026, when do I go for another renegotiation? Don't forget that May 2026 is another window for renegotiation. These are some of the things that they do to nurses and midwives, and we are impoverished up to today. We will not continue on this tangent. We need to change the narrative as leaders of the association.
Well, David, let's come to the terms of agreement or the bargaining agreement that you reached in the SWAL government. Exactly what can you do away with? At least you need to meet government halfway.
Do away. We cannot do away with anything in the condition of service. My dear sister, listen. I'm sure you have seen the condition of service. Every health worker in Ghana is enjoying that condition of service, and even better. We will not do anything away in that condition of service. In fact, we want to go for wage opener to augment whatever we got. If they have any implementation difficulty, I'm saying that we are prepared to sit down on the implementation table. But the implementation proposal of deferring payments to January is neither here nor there. We will not take that. Who does that? I mean, how do you expect the nurses and midwives to go by till January 2026? And don't you think that it also affects our window of negotiation in 2026? Why do we do this to nurses and midwives? And let me tell you, my dear sister, if there is any time that the employer will avert its mind, will be minded to provide whatever nurses and midwives are asking for, it's now. Are we not in Ghana and we are crying that nurses are traveling abroad? You think those who are in there are bad to travel? They are not bad to travel, my dear sister. They can also travel. It's out of goodwill.
So at least, fair point. Can implementation be done in stages at least?
Absolutely.
Not all of them.
Reasonable people. We can stagger the implementation, and we are open to that. But it must start this year. You see, some of the items within the condition of service are not new. Some of them were even paid, by the previous administration. The point is that it's just an enhancement. And the enhancement is not so much. So if you want to stagger the implementation, say, next month we'll pay this, in 2 months we'll pay this, it will make sense to us. But if you tell me you are deferring the entire payment of the condition of service to 2026, what does that supposed to mean? Are they deferring their salaries to 2026? It's unfair. And we can only do this to nurses and midwives because we think that they are all females and they don't have anybody to... Look, my dear sister, we don't wield guns, we don't wield cutlasses, that's why they don't fear us. I'm sure they can't do this to any of the security agencies, all right? Because we are essential service. No nurse in Ghana receives a rent allowance. No nurse, no matter your rank, receives rent allowance in that country. No nurse receives accommodation allowance. Look at these young nurses and midwives. They are breaking their back, and they live only on that small what do you call that paltry salary. And the little enhancement that this condition of service will bring, you are deferring to 2026. What do you take us for?
So, David, how soon can you meet government on your next line of action?
If they want to meet us today, if they want to meet us now about a reasonable implementation proposal, we will avail ourselves. But this type of implementation proposal is neither here nor there. We will not accept it.
I'm also hearing that the other nurses who are not necessarily part of your association are also in solidarity withdrawing their services. Have you come across any of these nurses?
Absolutely. I've told you already that their members actually defile their orders because they are thinking about their future. They are thinking about their economic interests. I've told them, I have done this job for 24 years. So if I'm telling you that your future is bleak, you must believe me. They have realized that the action that was being taken by their leaders was not going to inure to their economic interest. And right from day one, they defiled those orders. I hope you understand. But now, the leaders are coming back home. The chicken is coming back home to roost because they realize that they took a very poor and undecisive decision. How can you align with government? No union leader worth his salt must align with the employer. It makes no sense. Politicians will come and go. 4 years, they will go for their ex-gratia. When it comes to the payment of ex-gratia, they will not say that they are deferring to 2026. What did they take nurses in Ghana for?
Right. So, David, which associations are these?
Well, I'm not going to give you any names, but as far as I'm concerned, I can tell you that all those or some of those who said they were not going to be part of this strike, although officially have not issued a statement, we know how they are clandestinely asking their members to join the strike. And their members are on them to issue a statement. And I can tell you that there is a regional branch of one of those associations, which I will not glorify by mentioning their name, that has asked the members to stay away from work because they feel overburdened by the strike. You see, initially, the posture of the ministry was not helpful They thought that they could rely on these colleagues of us as strike breakers. We have been around for a very long time, and therefore we understand industrial relations and the fact that people could be used and induced as strike breakers. We are not perturbed by that, but we felt that the commitment that we have with our people, the people that gave us their mandates, we represent their interests. And so long as we represent the interests and only the interests of nurses and midwives in Ghana, we really think that we are on the right course. And I think that the employer must do the needful. We are not asking total implementation of everything. We're saying that we are reasonable people. We are ready to sit down and at the implementation table so that we can stagger the payments. We are ready to do that. But to defer the payment is not something we will entertain. Not today, not tomorrow.
All right, David, I'm grateful for your time on our desk. David Tinkwan is General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwifery Association. Away from that, there have been mixed reactions to the Speaker of Parliament, issue about the lifestyle audit, for individuals suspected of amassing unexplained wealth, while some say this marks a significant step towards enhancing Ghana's fight against corruption. Others think there really isn't any need for this audit. Well, let's hear from the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, who believes the proposed bill will empower state institutions to investigate the lifestyles of public officials, politically exposed persons, and private individuals whose standard of living does not correlate with their known sources of income.
Parliament in March 2025 signed a memorandum of understanding with Key Accountability Institutions Network consisting of SRAJ, IOCO, OSP, and others to combat corruption and crime. Parliament, under the obligation, is expected to initiate the National Integrity Awards to recognize and honor citizens who demonstrate exceptional commitment to ethical conduct and transparency. Briefing the Speaker on progress of work so far, SRAJ Commissioner Joseph Whittal says, although there have been some initial challenges, they have made headway in getting other institutions to sign on to the cause.
While the intent of the MOU has been convincing, implementation has faced challenges, including the inability of heads to meet regularly as envisaged. However, I believe today's meeting is a corrective and forward-looking step in the right direction, and that it behoves us at this meeting to chart a new way forward.
Reacting to the development, Speaker Alban Bagbin first called for deeper collaboration between key accountability institutions to help deal with the widespread corruption among citizens.
As rightly noted in the preamble to the Memorandum of Understanding, the lack of coordination and collaboration among key accountability institutions has diminished the potential for institutionalizing the culture of transparency and accountability in public life.
He also indicated that the Integrity Award will run concurrently with what he calls the Vulture Award, which will name and shame people who are deeply involved in corruption.
This, we will identify such a person and name the person when we are doing the awards for the persons of integrity. Whether the person attends to take the cross or not, it will be hung there on the person's neck. Very, very important.
On the raging call for legislation for lifestyle audit of citizens, he said Parliament is ready to begin the drafting of a bill.
And I was happy to hear OSP also include it in their statement. We will legislate and we will stop this impunity of people flouting ill-gotten wealth in the face of poor Ghanaians.
The two parties will draft modalities for a smooth rollout of the Integrity Award in the coming weeks. James Savaji, Parliament House, Accra.
Well, let's speak to Adam Senano. He's a member of the Africa Union of Advisory Board on Corruption. Mr. Senano, we're grateful for your time on our desk.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you had the Speaker of Parliament there. What are your initial reactions?
Well, the Speaker is right. As you may be aware, last week the the AU Advisory Board Against Corruption worked with the government of Ghana to do a country review. And one of the elements of the convention that Ghana has signed up to is the issue of illicit enrichment and lifestyle audits. From our review, we don't have any law that covers that. We have some elements in the IOCO law at the moment, but as a matter of fact, Ghana is not yet compliant with ensuring that lifestyle audits can be conducted on anyone who is seen to be living a lifestyle beyond their means and is suspected of, whether it's money laundering, illicit enrichment, etc. So the speaker is absolutely right when he talks about the need for this kind of law.
Right. I mean, let me avert your mind to Article 286, Clause 4 of the 1992 Constitution. And it says that any property or assets acquired by a public officer after the initial declaration required by Clause 1 of this article and which is not reasonably attributable to income, gift, loan, inheritance, or any other reasonable source shall be deemed to have been acquired in contravention of this Constitution. I mean, the Constitution lays that acquiring, any form of profit that is not known to your source of income, but doesn't provide any sanctions to this. What do you make of this article in the Constitution? Is it punitive enough? I don't think it's not punitive.
Well, the Constitution, as you know, is not the operational level of law. The Constitution sets the framework. It's usually on the back of the Constitution. You then have a law that then indicates which institution will have the mandate to follow up on such issues. Now, that's where we have the challenge. Although the Constitution has said we will proscribe any such actions, especially if you have individuals found to have monies beyond the legitimate sources of income that they can validate, that we can also that, yes, the remuneration can be translated into the assets and resources we find in your account. The legal level, at the law level, we don't have any institutions that have been mandated specifically, except for IOCO, which has a portion that says that if persons are found with monies beyond their means, it may be deemed as criminal funds. But we don't have a law that explicitly says that when you identify these situations, you should investigate and get to the bottom of the matter. Indeed, the IOCO one also there's a challenge there because, as you know, IOCO is effectively parastate because the appointments of those who are in charge come from the government of the day. And so their willingness, as we discovered in the case of Cecilia Dapa, to pursue a particular case or not, depends on who is in government and when they feel this is an issue of a lifestyle audit or not. So we're all disappointed that even though IOCO, for example, within their law, has something that will allow them to have picked up these resources and said, look, we are cross-checking, and then gone beyond what the OSP did. They refuse to do that. So the suggestion of the speaker, in my mind, he's talking about a law that allows any agency that is in the anti-corruption space, any school, to have the capacity to leverage that law and then begin to investigate. Such that if we have one institution that has been compromised by the state, there may be others that can still proceed to investigate and prosecute individuals who are found to have resources beyond their means.
I mean, with what the speaker is talking about legislating on this particular lifestyle audit, what would you want to see from where you sit in such a legislation?
Well, I think that one of the reasons why what he's saying also makes sense, and probably means we need to then perhaps even do a bit of adjustment at the constitutional level, if necessary, to the CRC, is, there's what you just quoted in the Article 2864, I think, is limited to public officers. But we know that when it comes to corrupt practices, illicit enrichment, there's the demand and supply. Both public and private sectors are involved. So we need to expand this whole issue of lifestyle audit to cover any citizens who appear to be living beyond their means and we can't, there's unexplained wealth, so to speak. So that's one of the things I'll be looking for in such a law. The second thing is that that law should not be tied to just one anti-graft agency, which is the situation we have where only IOCO at the moment has something minor. That was even an upgrade of their old law. And when IOCO decided not to act, nobody could do anything. So let's keep it open so that any anti-graft agency that believes that something wrong has happened can leverage the law, investigate, and hold persons who are engaged in impunity accountable. I think that these are at least two areas. First of all, making sure it's not just limited to public sector, and secondly, making sure that any anti-graft agency that is not compromised, that believes something has gone wrong, can proceed to investigate and prosecute such persons as the case may be.
How cost effective will this be if it is, put into law?
I don't know about cost effectiveness, but to the extent that we are losing 3 billion on average, is estimated annually. And if you look at the last time we went to the IMF, we went to borrow 3 billion to pay back in 3 years. And that's what we are losing in 1 year. There's every reason to take any actions that are necessary to reduce the levels of impunity that are going on. And so if this is one more mechanism or strategy within the basket of gamut of things that we have, that we can, as it were, execute to reduce the losses to the state and then retrieve resources and assets that individuals have stolen, I think that it's a worthy cause.
Right. Thank you so much, Adam Senanu. He's a member of the African Union Advisory Board on Corruption. Moving on, imagine being born to parents with hearing impairment and having to be that bridge between the hearing and the silent worlds. There's a story of 10-year-old Regina Osei, who helps her parents communicate with others every day. In our first episode of this Able series, Collins Frimpong shares a story of a little girl making a big difference. But we'll bring you that report right after this break.
Welcome back to Business here on Newsdesk. My name is Winston Taki, and now to our first business story. Co-founder of Achiever Foods Limited, Millicent Oduboy, has called on government and other key stakeholders to support in boosting entrepreneurship in the country. This, she believes, will serve as a means to tackle unemployment and build a resilient national economy. She made these remarks at the second edition of the Achieving Show, held under the theme Empowering the Next Generation of Entrepreneurs.
The second edition of the Achieving Show, under the theme Empowering the Next Gen Entrepreneurs, focused on diverse aspects of entrepreneurship and offered actionable solutions to help young people thrive in today's dynamic business environment. Co-founder of Achiever Foods Limited, Millicent Oduboy, highlighted the importance of the event, describing it as a strategic intervention to reduce unemployment in the country. She called on government and other key stakeholders to support initiatives like this to help build a resilient national economy.
The Achieving Show, which goal is to empower the next generation of entrepreneurs, is seeking to see how we can equip, empower, and also inspire and educate women and youth to think beyond just looking for a job, which does not really exist, to creating jobs, to contributing in reducing the unemployment burden in Ghana and in the African continent, and most especially come out with businesses that can make a positive impact and liberate the continent from the poverty situation that we find ourselves in. And so this is an initiative that we believe the government sector, the private sector, we are calling on all developmental agencies to support, to sponsor, so that we can build, economies that are resilient.
Co-founder Bride Oduboy encouraged the youth to identify everyday problems and transform them into business opportunities.
If you have a good product in a wrong market, it's not going to sell, and you will think that people do not have purchasing power. But if you redirect your advert and energy and product and services to the right market, you'll be amazed that a product that somebody is not able to pay a dollar for, somebody is able to pay $1,000 for. So you need to be able to identify your niche market and position yourself in that market. We need to be able to take advantage of the many problems we have in society, because once you have a problem, you should be able to know that you have a business opportunity.
Creative brand innovator and entrepreneur Emmanuel Eko Antha spoke about the transformative role of artificial intelligence in scaling businesses.
As a young entrepreneur, it's not about only the skill. The skill is very, very important, but how do you input the skill? How do you put in the skill that you have in your business? It's not always about the mind. The mind is going to help you with this things, hands-on things. But you know, the mind, sometimes the mind can get tired. Even your physical body can get tired. That is why the AI tools are there to help you 40, 45 to 50%, way out, so that you can be able to scale up your business.
The event attracted aspiring entrepreneurs, students, and industry professionals, all eager to explore new ways of building successful ventures and contributing to national development.
In response to the recent depreciation of the Ghanaian cedi and government's call for private sector support to stabilize the economy, Electroland Ghana Limited has launched a new nationwide promotion dubbed the Cedi Apeke Apeke Promo. Here is more.
This is the second time Electroland Ghana Limited is reducing prices in response to the cedi's appreciation. The launch of the Cedi Apeke Apeke promo took place at the company's head office in Accra. The promotion is designed to offer consumers significant discount on every appliance and gadget distributed by Electroland Ghana Limited, including brands like NASCO, Samsung, Media, and TCL. Speaking to journalists, the head of marketing and media relations at EGL, Adiza Ibrahim, emphasized that the initiative is part of their commitment to easing the financial pressure on Ghanaian households.
Electroland Limited has launched the Cedi Apeke Apeke promo, a campaign that is offering significant price reduction on various electronic appliances from top brands, as you know, Samsung, TCL, and NASCO, which is our own brand. This second press conference is in response again to the continuous appreciation of the Ghana cedi against the major foreign currencies, which we want the public to benefit. And so we want to pass this kind of sweet information and sweet deals, Gangantua deals, to our end users. With the discount on top of the already existing discount, this campaign, Apeke Apeke promo, is in line with the government's appeal to businesses to pass on the benefit of the cedi's appreciation to customers.
As part of the announcement, the company advised its customers and the general public to be careful of some fraudulent people demanding mobile money and pretending to be working with Electroland to distribute goods to them.
We are in an age where a lot of people use digital media to defraud a lot of people. I am here speaking on behalf of Electroland Ghana Limited. We have not entrusted any third party. We have not entrusted any third party to take mobile money payment on behalf of Electroland before their items are supplied or is supplied to them. So as much as we want Ghanaians to enjoy the Gangantua offers we are offering because of the cedi appreciation, I am entreating the general public to be cautious.
Electroland Ghana Limited has consistently championed consumer-focused promotions, and this latest effort is being seen as both timely and patriotic, supporting its customers.
That's all for business here on Newsdesk. My name is Winston Taki. Back to Mam Yesi for the rest of the bulletin. Mam Yesi.
Thank you, Winston. Now, imagine being born to parents with hearing impairment and having to be that bridge between the hearing and the silent words. This story is being told by Collins Frimpong, and this feature read to you.
It's Sunday morning here in Accra. The Osei family is preparing for church. But this is no ordinary family. 10-year-old Regina Osei is their bridge, a bridge between two worlds. Regina's parents are both deaf. When she was born, Regina only knew their silent world, sign language, the only language spoken in their home.
My grandmother was the one who trained me how to speak. When I was 1 year, I didn't know that my mother and my father were deaf. And later on, was when maybe about 2 years, and because I don't see them speaking, they were only doing the sign language because I saw them doing that, so I didn't speak again.
For 2 years, Regina lived in a world without spoken words, learning to understand and speak only through her parents' signs. But as she grew, Regina's world expanded.
She wants me to become an interpreter for the whole nation.
It was only when Regina making sounds with her grandparents that her parents realized she could hear and speak. Relief and hope filled their hearts. Hope that their daughter would be their voice to the world.
They were thinking that I'll become deaf because almost the whole family is deaf. And some of them are hearing, but the deaf people are many. So, and when my mother gave birth to me, my father's family asked my father and my mother that can I speak. Because of that, my mother became worried. And so she took me to the hospital. And then the doctor said, I'm not deaf, I can speak. Then she started feeling good that I can talk.
Regina has embraced this role with pride. When communication becomes difficult at the hospital or in public, Regina steps in, interpreting for her parents and others in the deaf community.
That evidence abounds that there is a strong relationship between good learning environment and good learning outcomes.
They always shows me alphabet, pictures, and phonics. So because of that, I was able to translate. I feel excited to be able to translate because if I wasn't able to translate, by now I'm not like this.
Inspiring story there of 10-year-old Regina Osen. That's how we draw the curtain here on this edition of News Desk. I am Amisi Nyamiche Thompson. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. See you again tomorrow.